Alright, so I've gotten this far. So I assembled the entire base and added these things. I'm not really sure what this is for, but I guess it's some sort of overhang where the machine would come out, where the spindle would be. So in the meantime, I also assembled the Z-axis. So just let me get this here. Alright, so what I did was, before I end up losing these screws, I just put it in here. I Loctited everything, or thread lock, sorry, shouldn't be using brand names. I also added, if you guys can see or not, there. If you guys can see the grease in here. Sorry for the loss of focus. This is a cell phone again. So I added grease, lithium grease, to both ends. So what I did was that, because this compresses in, I put on the thread first, or the Acme rod first. Then I put on the coupling just enough so that it gets to so the the red just oh my gosh, the rod, not the throd, or the thread, sorry, the rod just comes in here up to this point, right? And then I took this cap screw out, Loctited it, put it back in. I haven't Loctited this one yet because I'll be expecting a stepper soon. So, before I even get into that, so I Loctited this onto the extrusion. Then I put on, I guess I did this backwards, but I put on the rail on first. As you can see, the blue Loctite on here. Every single one of these has been tightened down, and there's copious amounts of Loctite in here. So there shouldn't be any reason for the machine to come loose. Now, I didn't put in too much, just enough for the thread. Then what I did was, after these two were on here, I put on this block. So I put the block down with the little nuts at the bottom. Then I applied some grease to the top cap over here, and then I put it on. I screwed it in, and these nuts, or sorry, bolts are also Loctited in, so they shouldn't come apart. Then I threaded, or I just pushed the rod through the bearing outward. So then I put on one washer for the needle thrust bearing assembly. Then I put on, I greased up the bearings. Then I put it on. Then I put on another washer with a bunch of grease on its face, and then put it on. And then I took the coupling, pushed it onto the rod, and just enough so that the rod protrudes this line right here. Just gonna let this thing focus there. Just enough that that I can see the rod on here, through this crack. I can't show it to you on camera, but I can see it. So then I loosened this bearing assembly, or this bearing block. I pushed it up so that this coupling actually compresses inwards like that. So now I have loaded down this bearing, or sorry, the needle thrust bearings. Then I put on the same procedure. I put on the first washer, then greased up the bearing, put on the bearing, then took another washer with grease on its face, that's on the bearing side, pushed it on, then I put on this, I guess this would be a nut of some sort. I can't think of a word for this. I guess it's a coupling of some sort. Then I pushed it on. Then I pushed on this side, so this pushes on the bearing, which pushes on this bearing block, which pushes on the bearings on the other side. Then it pushes on to the coupling. I pushed it until it compressed, and then while it was pushed in, I took a screwdriver and I tightened the cap screw down. Before I did that, I did thread lock this cap screw as well. So almost everything on here is thread locked except for these cap screws, which I'll do that once the steppers get here. Now this whole assembly has a preloaded pressure on the thrust bearings. Not too much, but just enough so that I don't get any slack in the nut, so that when the nut is operating, there is no movement being translated to the steppers directly. The helical coupler should handle some of it, but just to be sure, I preloaded it and then I tightened everything down. So this is ready to go. So I'm just starting on the X-axis rails. As you can see, I the first wipe down, I haven't re-wiped this yet. Sorry, I'm having troubles with my V's and W's, excuse me. So to get the, I guess these are called little anchor nuts or anchor bolts for the extrusion. I'll let that focus in. There we go. So what I did was I laid this the steel rail, on its side, on the inside face of this extrusion. So, and I made sure it kind of lines up on the ends as well. Actually, this side might be better. So I made sure it lines up, and then once it was turned over, I lined it up, and so now I can see the holes. So it makes it easier to line up all my anchor bolts. So that all I had to do was just put them on, turn this over, lift it up, put it on one end so that the screw or one of the anchor bolts go through, and then subsequently just put, I would end up putting it like this. So first this side and then lay it out so that each bolt will subsequently go through each hole. And if there were any problems, it would stop, so I can just go back, lift it up a little bit, lift it up like that, and then adjust the nut with my finger, and then, my bolt with my finger, and then lay it back down, and it'll kind of it'll settle, go through the holes. And then after that, I made sure everything is aligned, and I'm just in the process of putting on the nuts. So I'm not going to tighten this yet, but it's the same process for most. Now, there should be 10 of these, and then these are for the rack anchors. So let me just show you what I'm talking about. These guys right here. So they hold they hold the rack up against the bottom over here, so that you have your rack and pinion system hanging out on the side like that. Yeah, so that's all for now. I'll keep working on this tonight, and let's see how far I get in the morning, or get tonight, and then we'll see how far I get in the morning. Not by the morning. I'm gonna sleep. I need sleep. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you like my videos. I'm not gonna ask you guys to subscribe. I've heard that way too many times on YouTube, so yeah. Thanks. Bye.